Hello and welcome to KVIN Tech Chat Issue 10. And we're recording this as a special for World Sight Day 2020. So can I first of all welcome someone who's very, very familiar to you all at KVIN, but it's her first time on our Tech Chat podcast. So Sam, welcome.
Hi everyone. It's nice to eventually have a go at the podcast and become part of this team.
It's great to have you on board. And one thing that I was wanting to ask is, how many miles did you end up walking for Valli Rally? Because it was a fantastic total that you did.
Last week, 42 miles for the Valli Rally. My target was 30, but you always aim to beat your targets, don't you? Just a personal thing. So yeah.
You certainly do. So if we had a minute on the podcast for every mile that you'd walked, you're going to be here for the next 3 or 4 episodes, Sam. So you've got yourself an even bigger job.
Thanks, Mark. That's fine.
Quite good. It's good to have you on board. So we've lots to talk about on this issue. Sam's going to tell you a little bit more actually about the Valli Rally, because she's been using quite a bit of tech while she's been on the Valli Rally, and there's lots of interesting things have been happening there. We're going to mention the NHS Track and Trace app and talk a little bit about the accessibility of that. World Sight Day, as we've said, is Thursday the 8th of October. Hopefully you're listening to this podcast, and we've got some information for you in terms of the KVIN annual general meeting. So Sam, tell us about the Valli Rally and all the different bits of tech that you've been using, because you've been very, very busy.
Yeah, what a busy week the Valli Rally week was, not just for all the miles that everyone was putting in, but in terms of getting our messages out there wider. Well, basically, to start with, I was recording my miles using the Apple Health app, which is a brilliant inbuilt app on the Apple iOS. I believe there's a similar one for Android, and it records all the steps you take. And then it also records in miles or kilometres as well. So it's a good way of just keeping track of how far you've gone. I was also using the Move It app, which was recommended by a podcast predecessor, Dan, just to get from A to B. I went to Batley to do some of the walk on Friday, which I've not been to Batley before without someone with working eyes. So it was great to use the Move It app to tell me where to get off the bus and general geographics of where the park was from the bus stop, which is brilliant. So if you've got time to check out that app, Move It, it's free and it's brilliant for just general getting yourself from A to B, basically. And it was also a very busy week in terms of our own social media. So the Facebook, the Twitter, and definitely the YouTube. We more than doubled our YouTube views in that week compared to what we'd done in the whole kind of 3 or 4 months previously. So it was a really, really busy week. Definitely a lot more people now know about KVIN than did do before.
And we really have had some fantastic videos from people who took part in the Valli Rally, talking about their nominations, but also, sharing their walks with us as well. And some of those were filmed in some fairly atrocious conditions. So, thanks very much to everyone who contributed, not just to the Valli Rally, but also to producing videos and sharing their experiences of that walk. It's been an incredible achievement, done in some really quite challenging weather, to say the least, but it has been a superb event in terms of continuing to raise the profile of KVIN. So one of the other things that's been in the news quite a lot over the last sort of few weeks has been the launch of the NHS Track and Trace app, and for ourselves it's very much a case of its accessibility. And the good news is it is very, very accessible with both Android and on iOS. So I'm just active and scanning. My app is telling me that it's active and scanning. Really easy to set up. It's like a standard app setup. Only information you have to give is the first half of your postcode. So it's only the first half of the postcode, the WF or the HD or the HX, whatever it is, and then the letters up, and then the numbers afterwards. You're not putting in anything more detailed than that. The main thing you'll do.
venue check-in button.
Is that, which is the venue check-in. Now, the venue check-in, when you go to certain places, they have what's called a QR code, which is essentially a fancy barcode that you have to scan with the phone. Now, I know one or two people have been a little bit concerned about how you might do that. I think the best advice is to stand away from it. The cameras on the phones are very, very powerful now. So if you know what general direction is, where the code is, come back a distance, a foot or so, and it will scan it. It's amazing how far these things can be scanned from. You don't need to have your phone actually pressed onto the piece of paper or anything like that. You just find the piece of paper or find the board with it on, and then bring the phone back a good distance, or get someone to generally point you in the direction of it. So that's enough about the NHS Track and Trace app. And Sam, World Sight Day, you're doing all sorts there in terms of our social media as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I can. Well, I'll start with a bit of a brief synopsis. World Sight Day, which is held this year on the 8th of October, has two main functions. The first is to promote eye health internationally, to encourage all nations to promote eye health care as a primary health care, because obviously it's not always prioritised in all nations as it should be. And the other function of World Sight Day is to promote kind of hope and positivity on living with vision loss and living beyond that. So what we're doing through our social media is we're doing a YouTube playlist of lots of little videos from our volunteers and service users, basically blind life hacks. So your hints and tips that get you through living with sight loss, whether that's to do with something in the kitchen, whether that's being out and about. Anyway, we're hoping for lots more videos to go on there through the year as well.
Yeah, so do have a look at that. There's some really interesting information. I was taking a look at the World Sight Day, International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness, and it's quite interesting actually, in the sense that you can look and you can see what the situation is in other parts of the world as well. So it truly is a World Day with lots of different things and lots of awareness raising going across different countries. So it's nice for us here in Kirklees to be doing our little bit of it as well. So there's some great videos to watch out for. Up and coming in October, we've got the KVIN AGM. So our annual general meeting is going to take place on the 28th of October, and that's a Wednesday at 3 p.m. As with all our meetings at the moment, that's going to take place via Zoom, and Sam has been sharing the link for that. Unlike all of our other meetings where we just post a link on the WhatsApp group, with this one we are just asking that people register. Naturally, it is a public meeting, so we do just have to have that little bit more by way of security beforehand. So there is a link, and it's a form, essentially just your first name, your surname, and your email address. That's all you have to do, and it will send the link to you in an email. If anyone does have any difficulties practically with that, obviously do contact Sam and myself, and we will arrange to get that information for you. So that's the AGM, which is coming up on Wednesday, the 28th of October at 3 p.m. Okay, so Sam, you're going to tell us about some of the other ways in which you can keep in contact with KVIN and receive our podcast.
Yeah, we are absolutely everywhere at the minute. We've got a Facebook, so just look for Kirklees Visual Impairment Network on there. We also have a Twitter account, which is at KirkleesVin. We're also on LinkedIn and YouTube. So, and you can find links to all those to our website on the homepage. So again, the website is www.kvin.org.uk. So if you go on there, you can find links to all our individual social media platforms as well. But it's great news. We are literally everywhere, and it's brilliant for raising awareness of sight loss and just raising general knowledge of us as a charity as well.
And don't forget, you can get our podcast via the YouTube channel and also on the TuneIn Radio app and on Spotify. We really are everywhere. I think it's amazing, actually. I was looking at one of the videos, Sam, and it had something like 2,200 views. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. I think the top video from the Valli Rally had nearly 4,000 views. So
Wow.
we really are spreading that message out now.
Excellent. Okay. So from Sam and I, that brings us to the end of KVIN Tech Chat issue number 10. Obviously, if there is anything that you would like us to cover in the issues that are going to follow this, please do let us know. And if you can contact us via email as well on info@kvin.org.uk. So from myself, Mark Owen, and
from me, Sam Heaton,
it's goodbye for now.
Bye.